Del Titusbawa is the founder and chairman of Web3 Africa Group, a pioneering conglomerate transforming Africa's digital landscape through blockchain technology, decentralized finance, and innovative policy frameworks. Part of that is the Telos X Africa, a leading crypto exchange expanding financial access across 10 African markets. With a vision to empower Africa and its diaspora, Del combines technology, policy, and sustainability to drive economic growth and digital transformation. And with me is Del. Great to have you here at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, so
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So let's talk about Web3 Africa. You're the founder of this. Explain what your mission is.
Yeah, so with the Web3 Africa Group, when we embarked on our journey, it essentially was to develop the infrastructure of Web3 in Africa, starting with Ghana. And the whole objective there is to help solve problems that we see on the continent using blockchain. Digital currencies or cryptocurrencies are a key component of that. We also see opportunities in DeFi, we see opportunities in gaming, and of course artificial intelligence. But starting, as I said, with Ghana, the focus is to establish the frameworks around policy, education, and infrastructure. And that is what has kind of, spurred our mission to where we are today.
So talk to me about the situation in Africa. Is the infrastructure there? What needs to happen to really bring Web3 alive?
Yeah, so it's very interesting at the moment, Jane. So right now in Africa, what we have is we have a situation where we are, second or third. We move between second or third of largest crypto adoption globally. And that's because there is actually a need for banking, right? So the bankless, there's a real problem there. And so digital currencies are not a luxury in Africa, they're actually a necessity. And so on one half, you have bankless, group, which is, that number is actually decreasing as more and more crypto companies and digital asset entities are coming into the region. And then on another side, you need to basically develop the infrastructure so that the innovation, right, in our industry can start to meet the demand on the ground. Right?
Interesting.
Right, and that's what I typically have seen, from my personal experiences. But you have all the major players in the industry looking towards Africa, at least when it comes to crypto and blockchain.
Sure, and it's a very young population.
Yeah.
So they're kind of tech savvy, everybody's got a mobile phone, I'm assuming. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
The mobile penetration is quite high.
Yeah.
And continues to increase.
Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned crypto, so let's talk about the Telos exchange. How does that fit into your whole picture?
And so Telos is an amazing new company embarking in the region of Africa. Telos obviously's forays does not only link to Africa, right? It initially starts with its Chainlink partnership with Binance and other parts of the world. Now, what they identified was the ability to develop technology that allows transactions to move faster, right, on crypto exchange. And ultimately, what we've identified is there are a few players, big players, right, who have been on the ground that have not necessarily done things in the way that are, in tune with how things should be done in Africa. And by spotting that opportunity, Telos was able to see that and capitalize on that, right? And ultimately be in a situation where we create a product that is very, very relative to Africa, right? Young population, something that's a lot cheaper to use on the ground, and most importantly, being able to adapt into the market in a way that is receptive to the users on the ground. And that's where we see Telos having a very, very key advantage, right, in developing for years to come.
And the Ghana government is also supporting this.
Yeah, so prior to our partnership with Telos, which obviously we'll speak about, there has been a lot of work with the Ghanaian Central Bank, right? The first conversations I had with the Ghanaian Central Bank maybe 3 years ago was this, we are not here to basically, rebel and destroy the financial infrastructure that has been built over years. What we're here to do is we want to understand how we make the, financial infrastructure that you have more innovative, more robust, more competitive for the future. We want to educate, and most importantly, we want to find a happy medium. And so we worked with them with other stakeholders to establish what we call the policy framework for digital assets. Fast forward where we are today is the first aspect of that framework, and that draft has been released. And now we're in a situation where we are going to be rolling out a pilot for the country around digital assets with the partnership that Web3 Africa Group has created with Telos.
Okay, and you're talking about the Ghana, so you're all working with the Ghana government, and they're totally in support of what you're doing?
Yeah, so the Ghanaian Central Bank has been extremely receptive. They, in my opinion, have taken a much more innovative way to approach the industry on the ground. And what they've done is they've said, rather than this, because typically globally, when you have discussions around crypto and central banks and governments, it's always,
right.
Now you're going to see that change in the US, right? Given, Trump's administration is very pro-crypto, right? But similarly in Ghana, what the government has done, or the central bank has done, is say, hey, let's sit down and let's understand what the needs and wants are here. And it's been very collaborative, to be very honest with you. I've had nothing but very positive engagements with the central bank.
Yeah. So what's your vision? Like, where would you like things to be in 5-10 years?
Yeah, so essentially what I see for Africa is I see this industry to be $1 trillion opportunity for Africa. That is what I see. And I'm not saying that as a company. I see that as a GDP growth for the entire continent, right? And you just have to look at the value that Bitcoin has brought in the last decade, right? And that's only a piece of it. I still think we're at the very beginning stages. And so what I see is that with that, there'll be a domino effect of jobs. There'll be a domino effect of talent, devs, right? And more importantly, the infrastructure being developed will make it easier for younger people to start new companies very quickly. And then you're going to have international entities, more and more international entities, being able to do business on the ground with local entities, right? And then ultimately the governments are going to feel a lot more relaxed, a lot more receptive and a lot more understanding of the technology for the continent, and hopefully be in a situation where this is now common practice within our economic infrastructure.
Well, and you mentioned some of the local businesses there. So is that where Web3 would come, perhaps e-commerce opportunities for local businesses? How would they benefit?
Yeah, so like IP protection for me in Africa is a very, very big thing. So you have IP protection, the infrastructure to trade, right? So you look at the ability to trade amongst African countries is a little bit just disjointed at the moment. And what this technology will do by using blockchain and digital assets, it would be easier for us to move money around the continent, right? And so I only see a win-win situation when it comes to local trade.
Make it more seamless, kind of more vibrant, right? More transparent, just easier to do business.
Correct.
Less friction.
Less friction.
Okay, so kind of give me an overall view of where you're on the ground now and where you'd like to take things over the next few years.
So where we are on the ground today is, as I said, we've managed to finally cement our agreement with the Ghanaian Central Bank to basically be in a situation where we will be able to launch the Telos X platform in the country. And then our next, we have a target of 9 other key markets, Nigeria being one of them.
9 other African countries.
9 other African countries, Nigeria being one of them, South Africa, you have your Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Morocco, Egypt, etc. And so that objective is, as I said, within the next 5 to 10 years, we will expand into these different regions, right? And then, I would like to see some diversification, right? In some of the other entertaining industries like gaming. Africa has really, really, really good talent when it comes to gaming, not just from player perspective, but actually the general infrastructure.
And a creator probably too, right?
Creator economy, right? And so I see a situation where by us doing this, we'll be in a position where we'll be able to stimulate a creator economy and ultimately create the kind of company that can invest in other projects away from just cryptocurrency and blockchain.
But other kinds of digital projects
Digital
that
projects
will
that fall
continue
within
to
the Web3 umbrella.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this sounds so exciting, and there's so much potential.
Yeah,
So-
I'm really looking forward to it. It's a bright future ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And come back when you come back to the States, and let's do a follow-up interview.
Hopefully next time I come here, I'll be ringing the bell.
That would be awesome. Thanks so much, Del.
Thank you so much, Jane.